David, can you start off by telling me, what led you to start DentiMax?
As we started to sell our practice management software, this big thing was rolling through the industry called digital X-ray sensors. And everybody, there was a buzz out there about digital sensors. And so we noticed the same thing with that product line. Just these sensors are so expensive. And the quality really wasn't that great. And so we got involved with that and selling high-end sensors at a reasonable price. And so that's how we got started.
Now you're talking about sensors there. The DentiMax Dream sensor has been part of the company for a while, and you were talking about that the quality you didn't see in some of these others out there. Tell me about the quality of the Dream sensor and what makes this a great sensor on the marketplace.
Yeah, I mean, there's several high-quality sensors on the market. DentiMax is one of them. And how you can tell a sensor is what I would call a high-end sensor, high-quality sensor, is a digital image that it produces, that X-ray image. Mm-hmm. And what you do is you zoom into it. And a lower quality sensor, you zoom into its image, it's going to get pixelated really fast. Pixelated is the word we used to use back in the early 90s and 80s. Think of a video game. When I was a kid, we'd play Atari, or and you could see those little graphics were all pixelated. Kind of grainy. You could see the little pixels in it. And so, with a high-end sensor like ours, as you zoom into that image, it's still clear. You don't see the pixels. It's still clear. So you can zoom into it pretty far before you detect any type of pixelization. And so, and the reason why we're able to do that is because a couple of things. The insides of the sensor, just the guts of it, there's a scintillator and other parts that are unique to our sensor that help us render this high-end image, this very clear image. And then also the way our software interacts with the sensor. Some of the tools that we use help us produce that ultra-clear image.
Mm-hmm. One of the other things that that sets sensors apart from each other is the experience of the patient when the sensor is in their mouth. Can you tell me about the comfort level with people using the Dream sensor?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. You're putting, and here I have right here you can see my a sensor, and these sensors, they all look similar. They all are sensors, but some of them are thicker than others. And so one of the biggest attributes or biggest thing for patient comfort is how thick is that sensor. And ours happens to be the thinnest CMOS sensor on the market at 5.41 millimeters. And so you might not think is a big deal, but we're trying to get the third molar in the back of your mouth. That is a big deal. And so we have the thinnest sensor on the market. We have rounded corners and beveled corners. So when you're putting that back in the patient's mouth, it's not digging into their gums or the side of their mouth. And so patients tend to accept this sensor quite nicely. We've done some clinical reviews on our sensor, and I remember one of them. I mean, we can talk about this all day long and put it in our ads and whatnot. And every so often, you can kind of see it in action. There was a clinical review that we did for a magazine several years ago, and the office that we were training on our sensor was used to one of the other leading sensors, and it was quite thick. It looked like a little mini brick almost. It was a thick sensor. And so we placed our sensor into the dental assistant's mouth, and the first thing she says is, "This is way thinner than the other guys." And it was way more comfortable. She's pointing that out. It was just fun for me to see that, there in that dental office, comparing our sensor to this other one. So dentist does that when it comes to sensors.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've mentioned, software with your company, and, obviously sensors connect to software. You got to take that image that you capture and put it into the computer so you can see it and use it. Do DentiMax sensors work with all sorts of different software applications in the industry?
Another excellent question. Yes, we do, and it's done on purpose. It's been a lot of work on our part to make that happen. A lot of systems, unintentionally and in some cases intentionally, have made their software closed. And so we purposely have made our sensor and our software open. So having an open sensor is pretty cool. So for these dental offices, if you have to adopt new software to use a new sensor, that means your whole staff might have to be retrained, that's kind of a big deal. Not just the doctor, the dentist, you might pick up on it really quickly, but think of all the time and effort you perhaps spent to train your hygienist, your dental assistants, maybe your associate dentist to learn your initial system. And so with our open sensor, it's going to just work like your current sensor that you have. Just plug it in, and we work with virtually all the systems on the market. We're an open sensor. We're going to work with what you have.
Mm-hmm. Now, sensors are an investment for the practice, and obviously when you invest in something, you want that investment to be around for a while. What has DentiMax done to make sure your sensors can be a durable piece of equipment for dental practices?
Excellent question. Let me pull my sensor back out here again. As good as our sensor is, we're still a sensor. And so the one place where all sensors are vulnerable is the cord. This little guy is going to get tugged and pulled on day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. It's just back and forth so you get that right placement in the patient's mouth. And so if a sensor is going to break, this is going to be the weak link where the cord's at. And so we have spent a lot of time and effort working with dental offices to really strengthen our cord. I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but where the cord enters into the housing, it's Kevlar reinforced. There's a little bulge right in here. And so it's been reinforced here where it enters the housing for the sensor cord. And it took us a while to figure this out. We had an office in Texas. They saw a lot of Medicaid patients, and it just slammed off. It's super busy. And I think they prided themselves in being able to break our sensors. They could break anything. And so we worked closely with this office and with our factory, going back and forth, till finally they couldn't break our cord. And so our cord is very durable. It's still a cord, still a sensor, and on occasion they can be pulled out and be broken. And so our cord is repairable, which is a big deal. You don't have to buy a brand new sensor. You can repair the cord with our sensor. And then there's just a sensor overall. It's a solid sensor. We don't recommend that you drop your sensor, but if you do drop our sensor, chances are it's not going to break. Don't drop it, but if you do, we're going to last a little longer than the other guys.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you stand behind this with a strong warranty for these sensors?
Yes, our warranty over time has evolved. We keep on upping the years on it. And so we have an extremely strong manufacturer warranty. It's for 3 years. What does that mean? For the first 3 years of your product life, if it breaks for any manufacturer defect, we will replace your sensor free of charge. So if there's a manufacturer defect for 3 years, we'll replace it. And it's zero deductible. That's something that's come up. People have asked questions about that. And so with the manufacturer defect, just no money you have to pay out of pocket. We also, some people sometimes, including myself, we do dumb things, especially with equipment. And so if it's not a manufacturer defect, and let's say you run over your sensor with your chair, something happens, it's your fault, you know it, you did it. We give all of our sensors a 5-year protection plan for free. And so what that means, if you break your sensor, you get something to it. You can pay a greatly reduced price to replace the sensor.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that we do is if your sensor is broken or not working for any reason, we'll send out a loaner sensor to your office so that you're not down. So we'll probably have to send your sensor out to our factory to evaluate it, see what's going on. During that period, we don't want you to be down. We'll send out a loaner sensor to your practice, so you're up and running. You're never down.
So it sounds to me like DentiMax is really making sure that people who've invested in partnering with you for sensors are going to be able to take the images they need to and get those high quality images all the time. And I guess that leads me to, if practices haven't started working with you yet, how do they get a hold of a sensor to see if this is going to meet their needs?
Yes, another excellent question. We've been doing this for a lot of years, and we have perfected what we call the try before you buy program. Try before you buy program. And it's actually during this time of COVID-19, it's been pretty cool. We don't even send somebody out to your office. we'll send free of charge a sensor to your office to try out in the comfort of your own office, if you will.
Mhm.
Mail it out to you or send it out actually via UPS. And your office can try our sensor out for a couple of weeks. And we'll remote into your computer. We'll work with your staff to what we call dial in the perfect image for your staff. You know, we find that doctors have different preferences and tastes. Some like the images a little darker, some a little lighter. But we'll work with you. And we find that after a couple of weeks, most offices will want to buy our sensor. You know, we're a fraction of the cost of the other guys. We're a high-end image quality. If you don't like the sensor or the timing isn't right for you, box it up and send it back. We'll pay for you to ship it back.
Mhm. Wonderful. Well, is there anything else you want to make sure that people know about DentiMax and all the products and services you have offer out there?
You know, we've been doing this for a lot of years,
Mhm.
and I think we got it down. So I think the only thing I would say is try us out. Offices right now, you know, with COVID-19, everything else, maybe the silver lining is you might have a little bit more time than you had in the past. You know, we can ship the sensor out to you as a trial. Try us out. Give us a chance. I think you'll find that our sensor, you know, you'll be pleased with the results. It's going to work with your existing system. It's going to produce the image that you like. And I think you'll also like our staff. We're very personable, and we're gonna be there for you and your team. So
Well, wonderful. David, thank you so much for joining us.
thank you, Noah. Appreciate the opportunity.